continue to do together with you. So Janet and I and all our Priests for Life team continue to say thank you. Keep up the fight for life. Now, Mark, back to you.
Thank you, Father Frank. Well, the outrages keep pouring in. There's more coming.
No, it feels like a beating.
First off, on the upbeat side, Maafa 21 continues to rock and roll all over the country, as we all know. We had a real interesting thing the other day. A guy up in Wisconsin bought 2,000 copies of Maafa 21, and he's been going to urban neighborhoods and black neighborhoods and just handing them out. We got a call from a guy who said that he took his and gave it to the local barber, and he ordered another one for himself. He just went ahead and paid for it. He took his to the local barber, and now it's being shown on a continuous loop in the barber shop. Well, as a result of that, we now understand that 3 black guys went into a Milwaukee Planned Parenthood. The police were summoned because the Planned Parenthood people didn't know who these guys were. It turns out they were in there to inform the abortion clinic that they had seen Maafa 21, and this Planned Parenthood facility was not going to remain in their neighborhood.
That's so cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Those are my kinds of friends.
The police came and escorted these 3 guys out. There was 4 officers that showed up. 2 of them were black. One of these black guys had a chance to talk with one of these black officers, and he said, "Look, I'm with you, brother, but you can't be in here threatening people." He said, "We didn't threaten them. We just told them they're leaving the neighborhood." Mm-hmm. And that's the way Americans going to end this. I've said it time and time and time again. This thing's not going to end in Washington, D.C. It's not going to end in Austin, Texas, or any other state capital. Right. It's going to end in the streets, and then it'll end in those places.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
That's the way the Civil Rights Movement worked.
I love it.
And nothing happened in Washington, D.C. until people won the battle in the streets, and that's what's going to happen. Has to happen.
We need an update on that situation if
anybody
knows about it.
As we hear about it, we will. And there are some people that are supposedly following up on that situation. But that's the kind of thing that's happening all over the country. Now, one of the things I wanted to get to real quickly here, Johnny, as you know, in the Maafa 21, we talked about Samuel Yett, the journalist who worked first black journalist for Newsweek magazine, rose to be the Washington bureau chief for the Newsweek magazine, wrote a book called The Choice, talking about how abortion and birth control were being used to wipe out the black community. The week after that book was published, he was brought in and fired. And at the firing, and there's a video of him talking about this, at the firing, he was asked why he was being let go, and they pointed at the White House and said the Nixon White House said they want you out of Washington, D.C. And blacks in those days found out, just like Samuel Yett found out, that if you speak out against this cartel, there's a price to be paid, and most people didn't want to pay it. The Jesse Jacksons of the world sold out rather than paying that price. Yep. We might have a new Samuel Yett brewing.
Oh, yeah, talk about my brother, huh?
You had a situation in North Carolina with a black talk show host, Jimmy Lewis Jr., right?
Jimmy Lewis Jr. was one of the most liberal black radio show guys there was.
Hardcore pro-abort. He watches Maafa 21.
Total change of heart.
Changed his mind.
He watched it twice in one night.
Right. Wow. This guy's hardcore pro-abort, liberal talk show host, and not just a minor one. He was called the Rush Limbaugh of North Carolina, as I understand.
A real icon in the black community. Jesse, Jimmy, I'm talking about Jimmy. Jimmy was in a wheelchair, and everybody loved him because he was a drug dealer at one time, got shot 5 times. So everybody really liked him.
He's got street cred.
Yeah, big time. But after he saw Maafa, he went on the radio and let it be known that he was no longer pro-choice.
I understand he apologized.
He was pro-law. I mean, he not only just did one program on it. He did a number of programs, even on his Focus. He even brought me on. He brought other people on. Pastor Bobby on. Cynthia Stewart was on. I mean, he was very adamant.
We don't want to get into too many details right now because they're just kind of evolving.
Well, to jump to the chase is the radio station decided to change the format
and fired him.
And they just moved everybody else around on all the shows except for one, him.
Hadn't he started that radio station?
He had been there 16 years.
16 years.
So he changed his position on abortion.
And he's fired.
And immediately he's fired, and he's called the Rush Limbaugh of North Carolina. That's his nickname. And I think the message is being sent again. I said in Maafa 21 that things like what happened to Samuel Yett the left in this country and the elites, the moneyed elite, sent a message to the African American community: either you get on board with this eugenics, or you keep your mouth shut. And they've now sent that message to Jimmy Lewis.
Right. Yep. And the interesting part is everybody else that got shifted around were not brown; they were white. And Jimmy was the only black, and he was the only one they let go.
So it ain't over yet, is it?
It's just now starting.
Good.
All right. Speaking of more outrageous, how many more can you take, Sheree?
How much more? I was delicate to start with today, so I'm about done.
Oh, by the way, just real quickly, a new thing put out by the Guttmacher Association reinforces something we've talked about here many times. How we're winning this battle.
Right.
But one of the things that's interesting is that they've put out in this deal is that the shortage of abortionists in this country, and it is dire, it is closing abortion clinics, is not being driven, contrary to what they've been saying in public, is not being driven by the violence that they fear. It's being driven by the stigma that's associated with abortion. Mm-hmm. They're saying that now, that's the biggest problem. Mm-hmm. We're winning this thing, I'm telling you. Well, let's bring in
those abort baby signs.
Yeah, let's bring in a couple of guys here who've been on the front lines along with the rest of us. First off is a troublemaker and malcontent from, we got a lot of people from Washington, D.C. this time. I guess that's where all the troublemakers and malcontents tend to.
Somebody's going to be out there to take them on.
Reverend Pat Mahoney. Are you there, Pat?
I am. Well, I'm Irish, Mark, and raised on the Jersey Shore, so I really didn't have any chance, both environmentally or genetically.
The Jersey Shore, so you were in the mafia?
No, of course not.
No, okay. All right. We'll take you at your word on that one. Listen,
I'm Irish.
Listen, real quickly, we're just about out of time. We felt like everything we had to say was more important than anything you could say, so we just went on and on.
It's probably true.
But there's a situation there at a Planned Parenthood where you guys have been hanging out, and I know we even have pictures of Master Troy here hanging out there, protesting on a public sidewalk. Planned Parenthood now has put a fence up in front of their building that goes out beyond the public sidewalk and is having pro-lifers arrested if they go inside that fence. Is that right? Am I missing something here?
No, you're right, Mark. You got it perfectly. For years, hundreds and thousands of people have prayed on a 50-foot sidewalk leading up to Planned Parenthood and a grassy area around it. 2 months ago, Planned Parenthood put up a fence. What's interesting, they had to get a public permit to put up the fence because the fence itself was on public property. Well, for some unknown reason, which we're trying to find out, and this is the critical point, the city of Washington, D.C., after allowing people to pray in sidewalk council on that sidewalk for years, began to threaten peaceful pro-lifers with arrest. On June 8th, in working with the American Center for Law and Justice, I went, applied for a permit, and knelt and prayed on that public sidewalk and was arrested. There's no doubt that it is a public sidewalk. We have researched it. The city of D.C. has confirmed it. And, Mark, I think every person needs to understand, for the first time in the history of our nation's capital, they are prohibiting and banning First Amendment activities and prayer on the public sidewalk, but it even gets worse. They are doing that to protect the abortion industry. Our federal government is not protecting free speech and the First Amendment. They are protecting the killing of innocent children. And so on August 13th through 15th, we're giving a national call for people to come join me once again, peacefully pray on that sidewalk, and we are going to challenge this. But it is horrifying. Mark, we always said that it wasn't just enough for Planned Parenthood to kill innocent children. I just heard the story that you mentioned about the talk show host and the reporter for Newsweek. They want to silence all dissent.
Absolutely.
They want to silence anyone who disagrees with them. And our position has always been, if innocent children can be killed with impunity in America, then no liberty, no freedom we enjoy is secure. And we're seeing that now, tragically, just 3 blocks away from the White House.
Well, it goes beyond that, Pat. If innocent children can be killed with impunity like you're saying, which they are, not only are those other rights that we enjoy and privileges that we enjoy, not only are those at jeopardy, we don't deserve them.
Well, that's true.
So they should be in jeopardy because we
Right.
don't. I've said it a million times, and I know it sounds unpatriotic or un-American or whatever people want to say. If we don't stop this, we don't deserve to survive. It's
Well,
time
we
for
won't-
God to
we
just wipe
won't
the slate
survive.
clean and start over. I'm sorry?
We won't survive.
We won't survive, and we don't deserve to.
Right.
Well, anyway, you're exactly right, Pat, in that, and everybody here agrees. What they want is no opposition. But I'm here to tell you, no matter what else happens in this battle, they will never, ever have that. I don't care
absolutely.
what the cost is. They can make the cost as high as they want to. They will never have unfettered access to these babies. That's not going to happen.
Well, right, and that's why we're inviting folks to come to D.C. the 13th through August 13th through 15th, and to stand. So critical that we have a presence there.
It's amazing. These people are just
Arrested even after you got a permit.
well. First
And
off,
they put that thing on a public.
Yeah, you don't have to
you
get a permit.
you cannot take a public sidewalk and fence it in and say you can't walk on this
Well,
sidewalk.
what's worse is the pictures show that there's a sign that says private property. Stay off. No trespassing, private property. They've just commandeered, they've stolen the public property.
Right.
But as Pat says, it's no surprise to us. They're killing children.
The most disturbing part. We know Planned Parenthood, they killed children, so we know they're going to lie. The fact that the city of D.C., but we are convinced, we did title searches back to the 1700s. Jay Sekulow, the staff at the American Center for Law and Justice, we are absolutely convinced we're going to prevail on this case, and we're going to move forward with passion on it.